If I have
I
a
ain't
bad night,
cared
I
since.
don't want to talk to anybody.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I don't even care like that. I care because I do want to have a
Rich
do the
Scheidner,
job.
actually, we were talking about this not that long ago because I had, when Rich came in, we had some pretty deep, man, I get into deep conversations pretty quickly with people, especially if I like them. You know what I mean? I'm like, let's talk about it. Like,
Yeah, he's cool. He's a cool guy.
But we were talking about a show I had done 2 weeks before that didn't feel good to me. Like I was on stage, you know how, let that inner voice, boom. I did not do that night. I was very I looked at the people and I didn't trust myself that I could make these people laugh with the stuff I'm doing now. So I tried to do old stuff that I hadn't done in about a year, 2 years. And it just wasn't there. And the whole time I'm in my head screaming, fucking knock it off. Like, tell them you hate it right now. Tell them you hate it.
Yeah.
Like, stop lying to everybody,
Yeah.
And I was telling Rich about that. And I said, I walked off, and this one guy who's a open micer came up and tried to deconstruct the whole thing with me. Like right after, and I'm in my head, man. I'm in a space right there. I'm trying to be creative, but I'm also trying not to kill myself about it and all this. And I was telling Rich this story, and he said, that's the rule we came up with a long time ago. You never talk about it at the club. If it went good or if it went bad, you don't talk about it at the club. You talk about it when you leave. You go to a diner. He's like, that's why comedians love diners.
Yeah.
You go talk about it at the diner. I was like, oh, shit. And he said, because if you talk about it at the club, let's say you have a bad show, you're at a comedy club, and then you're in the green room and you're talking about how bad it was, and then the manager comes in and you're like, oh, that was so bad. Maybe the manager didn't know it was bad. Maybe you think it was bad.
Maybe he liked it,
But, and maybe now he thinks it's bad.
Good point.
You know what I mean? He says, so you do it at the diner. And I was like, oh, it makes so much sense. You don't deconstruct the show at the show.
And you should look confident, right? Afterwards.
I guess
no matter
so,
what happens, you should look confident.
I mean, well, ideally you are confident.
Well, yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So
I don't know, man. If I have a real bad night, I feel like I want to quit until the next time I go back.
I think about quitting all the time. There was I can't remember who it was. I wish I could give tribute to it, but somebody said, it was Lavelle. I can't remember his name. He said, if you don't think about quitting twice a year, you ain't doing comedy.
That's true.
Oh, okay.
I was like, oh, shit.
Well, I'm good then.
Yeah, you're right on track.
You're doing well. I remember seeing this guy. I don't know how early he started, but I remember the first time I started seeing him, he was like,
real quiet, yeah.
Then he started opening up a little. Then he got louder. Now he's like, you can see he's comfortable enough to enjoy what he's doing.
Yeah, I'm having fun now.
And he's talking about his topics like he knows they're funny. You know, that's what I see. And when I look at young comedians, I see that. I remember seeing God rest his soul. What's this guy's name? Renee.
Renee, yeah.
Oh,
yeah. He was this little Hispanic guy who wasn't too great confident, but I watched him grow into a great comedian, a very funny comedian before he passed away. Yeah. And Day Hodge, that's what makes it so much fun. Got like Goldsby, and you watch these young, like Nick Cartwright.
Yeah.
I remember when he came. I remember I first saw him, because these guys just started what. 17, 16?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of them started.
Wow.
Yeah.
And it's like the blossoming. It's so quick now.
We got real lucky. We got this big influx of comedy kids who came in and were just good. And not only just good, but also being at the right place, right time, too. Like, I feel like a certain amount of time previous, it wouldn't have worked out for them, because I feel like a lot of them weren't going to do well in a big comedy club atmosphere before, they got lucky doing a lot of small venues with good people.
Okay.
And also comedians who kind of knew what the fuck they're talking about. Like, that makes a huge difference. And I think that's probably true for almost anything, right? Is you do this, you find the people who know the thing you want to do.
Right.
And when you go to comedy clubs, when you go to a comedy show, if one of the people who was the best on it talks to you afterwards, that's a gift. I'm not saying it's a gift they're giving you, but I'm saying it's a gift you're getting, because I know for me, had I not met Evan Williams, Jordan Fisher, or Steve Lesser, I wouldn't still be doing comedy.
I know Steve Lester.
You know what I mean? And well, so Evan started a mic before me, so that gave me someone to kind of tether to. We're gonna go through this same shit at the same time. And then Jordan Fisher was younger than me, but a few years ahead. You know, Tonight Show and all this stuff now. But at that point, he was still young, and I was like, oh, he's funny. I physically can see someone who's doing what the people on TV are doing.
Right,
and I get to ask him questions about how he's writing and stuff like that. And then having Steve Lesser just be like, yeah, come back next week.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
If somebody tells you to fucking come back, you know what I mean?
Like, that means somebody actually like you.
Yeah, right.
And, you know, because you don't think about it. Like, think of how many funny people you've seen one time.
God.
You know what I mean? Too many. You see these people come out and they're special, and then you don't see them anymore.
Back.
There's a kid who started at the club. He's only done comedy 10, 12 times. But, like, the first time I saw him, I was like, hey, you make sure you come back all the time.
Oh, yeah.
Dakota,
yeah, he's funny.
He's really funny. He's talented. You know what I mean? He's making mistakes, which is great. But
he's young, too, though.
What would bother me is if I don't see him no more.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because he's got
He got
talent.
something.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, you know what?
Go ahead.
When I started, it was, I think, August, September 2019, right before the pandemic. Mm-hmm. And it seemed like a really bad time to start, but it was a good time for me because I could spend a lot of time with you and some of the other veteran comics that couldn't tour or go anywhere.
Yeah.
Everyone was stuck in the lockdown. So
And also having Jenny be around and have time for 10 people, it's a lot easier than for 100 people.
Right,
You have no idea how fortunate young comics are to have a person like Jenny.
Yeah, that's right.
I've been saying this.
They take it for granted.
Like it's
They
what's
really
supposed to
that.
happen.
But that's not how it usually goes.
Yeah, well, that's something that young people need to realize too. Is it seems like a lot of young people, or anybody, but a lot of young people are very entitled today, and it's like they don't realize the things they should appreciate sometimes.
God, man.
You know,
especially comedy. I had guys tell me when I was 17 years old. I don't mean to be racist. I'm talking about race here for a second.
No, go ahead.
But I had guys tell me, listen, Rock, we got a black guy on the show. And we're going to have to take your date away. We got to have a black guy last week. That was almost all. I heard that a lot when I was 17, 18,
I can imagine.
years old.
I
had guys say to me one time, listen, stay right here. Don't move. Don't go nowhere until it's time to go on. Other comics running around. And he would bring me up. I'd do my set. I had people call me names from the audience.
Wow.
You know, and the other comics say, hey, the booth guy, relax. You know, I'm like, you know, I'm not talking about just racism. I'm saying, but for a young comedian, not just with race, it'd be different too. It's kind of different with, I'm saying, it's not just race involved. I'm saying when you're young.
in general.
In general, I mean, it's a harder road. But if you go to an open mic, twice a week you can go to the idiot box, and you got somebody that's going to treat you human.
Yeah.
That's a blessing, man.
Right.
Yeah, I think I've been thinking about this a lot lately. You know, how difficult getting into any art form has to be a strange thing, right? Art isn't. This isn't school. You know what I'm saying? And you can go to school for art, whatever, but actively getting your hands dirty in something is completely different, and there's no real form of structure, and the form of structure that there isn't correct.
Yeah.
Like if we're saying, hey, young comedian who's probably mentally ill and has some issues and not good with money, and you suffer from depression and you might be a little lonely, let me put you on the road for 8 weeks in a row, and you come back with $350 for the whole, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And make sure you stay in places that are not good, you know what I mean?
Cold at night.
Stay by yourself and only eat cold chicken wings and mozzarella sticks in your bed while you watch House Hunters International every night. You know what I mean? It's like, it's not that you should be catered to, but you should be treated like a person.
That's right.
And that whole idea of going to the comedy club and having to kneel down before the king getting passed.
God.
It's like, go fuck yourself. Do you know what I mean? Like
Even after you have a good set sometimes.
You know what I'm saying?
Back in the
It puts
day,
you
man,
back
you know what I
down.
mean?
Yeah.
Back in the day, if you were, I was fortunate because I was I was pretty good out the box in Philadelphia, but I seen people since then, man, who was, because it's different now. The owners, the club bookers and all, they don't need you now.
There's so many.
Yeah, see, back in the day, like I said, they would pay us on a Wednesday or Thursday night, because it was so few of us that had the ability to do it.
Right.
But now it's kind of flipped.